Delivering the mail on time each day is a common goal of Postal Service employees. In large part, the public's opinion and confidence in the Postal Service is based on whether that birthday card or package from Grandma arrives on time. In an age of advanced communications, timely delivery is more important than ever. As a quality measurement tool, the Postal Service hired national auditing firm Price Waterhouse to drop thousands of test letters in collection boxes nationwide. Price Waterhouse measures the number of days it takes to receive a letter from the time it was dropped in a collection box to the time it takes to reach its final destination. This rating system is called EXFC, for External First Class Measurement. In the upcoming months and years, a district's EXFC score will be used as a way to judge how good of a job employees are doing in serving customers and getting the mail delivered on time. Letter carriers play a vital role in helping a district meet its EXFC scores.
One of the things I've incorporated into my daily routine is to get my missed throws back to the throwback case a couple of times in the morning before I start pulling down. That way the clerks can get the mail sorted properly for the hot case, which I also check at least twice before I leave. And I always tap the hot case one last time before I head out the door.
For the Postal Service to meet its delivery standards 100% of the time, letter carriers have to retrieve their hot case mail every day. A few feet of delayed mail makes a difference with EXFC scores. And being aware of recurring misthrows and notifying a supervisor about this problem is an important duty for letter carriers.
A recurring misthrow can occur for a couple of reasons. So it's up to the carrier to make his or her supervisor aware of the situation so that the problem, whether it be an address or a sortation problem, can be corrected.
One of the most important duties of letter carriers is picking up the mail from collection boxes at the specific posted collection time.
The golden rule of thumb is never collect mail earlier than the posted collection box time. If you collect mail even 5 minutes early, and a customer or Price Waterhouse happens to drop their letters within that 5-minute window, the mail will sit in the box until the next morning. It obviously won't receive that day's postmark, and it'll add an extra day to the delivery cycle.
And that's where the term zero bundle comes from. Zero bundle means that a whole collection box of mail was late because the box was tapped ahead of schedule or not tapped at all. Oftentimes, Price Waterhouse will drop test mail into a collection box within only a few minutes of the scheduled pickup time.
Simple communication eliminates zero bundles. It's better for a carrier to tell a supervisor that he or she forgot to tap a box than to have a box of mail sit around for a day and disappoint our customers.
Letter carriers also have to remember that posted collection times are housed within a massive computer database. Price Waterhouse uses this database as its frame of reference for posted collection times. This means that a letter carrier can't independently change the posted collection box time. If the carrier finds he or she is always at the box early, then they need to inform their supervisor. The supervisor will do the necessary paperwork to coordinate a time change with the address database program.
Good morning, class. I'm Bill Fulcher. I think we've all met earlier this morning. I'd like to talk to you today about something I've had experience with about the last 30 years. Previous to coming to the Postal Service, I was in retail work. Started when I was 16 years old. Now, what I'd like to talk about today is some of the reasons for failure and success in the retail world. And one of the particular ones that I feel like can be carried over into the Postal Service. I'd like to ask you a question. Jane, let me ask you. Say you've got two stores exactly alike, two different companies. They sell basically the same product, but you choose one or the other. Why? Why do you do that? What's some of your reasons?
Well, one could be price, one could be convenience.
True.
And the attitude, I think a lot of it would have to do with the attitude of the people that work there.
Very good. Sal?
Well, sometimes your parents use a product so you just continue using it.
True.
Customer service.
Very good. Service. Customer service. Several years ago, a gentleman I know in town, Bill Zimmer, owns Reed's. You all heard of Reed's. We were talking over coffee one morning. He used to talk about me being in retail, which I realize I am now, working in one. Bill said, you know, Bill, call me Bill, his name's Bill. He said, I sell the same watch as Albert Rose does. Same watch King Off does. Same Timex, same Seiko. What's the high dollar one? Rolex. Never seen one. Why is he so successful? Each year his company makes more money. It's one of the largest in the Southeast now. Reason? He said because he treats his people that walk in that door right. And I found this out from personal experience. You treat them right, they'll come back to you. They might come to you that first time, but if they walk away with a feeling of a bad attitude or that you don't care about their business, they're not coming back to you again. And then they spread this word of mouth. That can be the failure of a company. I've seen it happen with a retail grocery chain in Wilmington years ago. I worked for that chain. I walked in Bill's store one day. He knew me from the window, having coffee with me in the morning. I walk in, he still sits there. I think he's in ill health now, but he still stays there, 80-some years old. I said, Bill, come back here a minute. Let me talk to you. Walked to one of his salesmen. He said, $25,000 credit on anything in the store today. Give him 10% off. No, 15%. Well, he meant it. I walked about it, and I didn't borrow the money, but he gave me 15% off anything I wanted to store. Of course, the salesman kind of got a little bit of a look on his face, like there goes part of my commission. From that day, 15 years ago, I'll go to another jewelry store in Wilmington. I've become known there. Bill's always there. I always try to find a store where he's at. I'll look inside to see if he's there. I go back to that store. That's how he's built his business over the years. Not to say the others don't do a good job, but he's more successful because of that. I got this first-hand experience many more years ago than I care to admit myself about customer service and how to keep customers. I was brand new out of the Army in my 20s. I was an apprentice meat cutter for Winn-Dixie. Well, you know, the rookie's going to get all the dirty jobs. So they had this particular customer that came to our store for one reason and one reason only. At that time, Winn-Dixie was known for having the best beef in town, and it did, so it was sort of a little monopoly. You know, we sort of have a little bit of one too. Well, that's all he would buy. And when he rang that buzzer, no one wanted to wait on him because that was the hatefulest human being you've ever met in your life. He tried you, he tried his best to get to you, to get you to lose your cool. So naturally, the first time he rings the buzzer, when I'm back there, Bill, catch that, would you? So I go out there, and they were right. He was hateful, demanding, but I didn't lose it. I kind of saw it as a challenge. So I was polite to him, I was nice to him. Next week he comes back, and that's all he'd buy is meat. Wouldn't buy anything else, no impulse buying. He'd go somewhere else to get the rest of his groceries. He owned a restaurant. As time went on, he got a little more friendly. He opened up to me. So we talked, and it turned out he had a reason for some dissatisfaction with the company. And the reason was that his son had worked there previously and had been fired for what he felt was an unfair reason. Well, his son had become a state police officer. Turns out, at the time, my uncle was a state police officer. So we had a common type bond. So we talked. As time went on, he became my friend. He came to the store. He started buying everything else there. And of course, that's a large example. I went a long ways to get him back, to coming back. But it worked because I was friendly to him and didn't carry on his tradition of being hateful and curmudgeoning. At the time, I perceived him as an elderly gentleman, which by now, I'm probably older than he was then. But anyway, he kept coming back. And the day I left Wilmington, Dan to move here, he invited my family over for a free dinner. And he still shops at that store to this day. I think he's in his 80s now. Now, how does this pertain to the postal service and retail? We say we got a monopoly. We're the only ones that can deliver first-class mail. We're the only ones that sell stamps. That's not true. You can go down to what I call these 7-Eleven convenience postal service stores that have private mailboxes. You can buy stamps there, and you pay more for them, but it's convenience. And while you're there, you can also buy packaging products, tape, tubes, everything like that. If you want to mail overnight, you're going to have to use FedEx or UPS. What we want to do is when the people come into our store, our post office, is treat them with this service, good customer service. Make their day for them, make them feel good. Because while they're with us, rather than go to these other stores, then they might buy the packaging products from us. They will mail express. Years ago, I know we've got the reputation of being, we're the only ones in town that does this. We could almost care less if we got your business or not. I don't think we're ever that way, but that's a perception. We're beginning to overcome that today, I think, with good customer service. I don't care how clean your place is, how much product knowledge you got, how much variety you got, and yes, prices do make a difference. If you've got that good customer service, you might be charging a little bit more than that person down the street. And we do on our phone cards, that's true. But people will come back to us. Does anyone have any questions on any personal experience on how customer service is related to their work? Carlos, do you have any?
I find that a lot of customers compliment the service that they get from us over the retail window. They don't always compliment the prices or the stamps or, the packaged products or any of that, but they always will tell you how good the service is there, and they keep coming back.
That's right. Let me give you an example of failure. The company I did work for 20 years before I came to Postal Service. It was the biggest grocery chain in the southeastern United States, particularly North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, and Louisiana. We had 4 stores in this town. Well, they got so big, they rested on their laurels a bit. They're the ones that started carrying your groceries to the car for you, bag boy on every checkout, no matter what the cost. Customer service was number 1. This is how the company operated when I come there. I'm not trying to cut the company down, but I just want to tell you what I perceive happened. As time went on, management changed, new president of the company, CEO come in, and they looked at cost cutting. First thing to go was carrying the groceries out to the car. Next thing to go was bag boys on everything. These are the things we built that business on. Next thing to go was the quality of the meat we sold, which was considered the best in the country. And also, they didn't face the competition in Wilmington like they should have. They had a local chain here that was known as the Country Boys, the Hometown Boys, which was Wilson's. They had customer loyalty, and Winn-Dixie just sat back and said, we're bigger than they are, we can take them on. 8 years after I moved here with one of the largest companies in the Southeast, Winn-Dixie closed every single store in Wilmington. They finally give up. They let their product slip, they let their customer service slip, and because of that, they lost a loyal customer base. They went somewhere else. And everybody knows the story of Wilson's. They became the biggest chain in this part of the state, and which sold out for millions of dollars to him for a few months ago. And I just say with customer service, with the Postal Service, we will see our surplus increase. We're not supposed to call it profit, but we do. And we will see better conditions and better service to the public, which we do 2 things. We sell stamps, we deliver mail. Any more questions? I appreciate it. I probably didn't take as long as I was supposed to. Good morning, class.
Good morning.
Good to see you again. Yesterday I talked to you a bit about service, customer service. I would like to continue today with one other aspect of it that we didn't talk about yesterday. Something the Postal Service does that you won't find done anywhere else, except maybe ABC stores. You get a lot of comments on it. Carlos is being a fellow one of the clerk, he probably knows what I'm speaking of. How many of you have been to a convenience store this week, let's say a Hardee's or a Food Line, had a order say like $6.51 or $6.50, you give them a $10 bill, they were nice, they were polite, but they did one thing that irks me. Could anyone tell me what that is?
If you want change.
They just hand you a change, a big wad of money, big wad of coins, and if they say thank you, it still bothers me because I've got to stand aside and count it. please, if it's $6.51, don't give them a penny to round it off, because you're going to have a line go out the door with you there. So what we do, we use what we call the through count method of counting change back. We've got a lot of comments from customers. They say it's nice to see everyone, see people that know how to count again. Now this has a benefit to you also. As I said, it's like in wrestling, the three count method. And it has a twofold benefit. One, of course, customers appreciate us doing this. The other benefit helps you in your security on the window. I'd like for all of you to come up here for just a second, please. We're going to give a short demonstration. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to have to use your imagination slightly, because I don't have any nickels, dimes, and quarters. I do have nickels and pennies. We're going to pretend these are quarters and dimes. We're going to make an easy transaction. Now, I'm a window clerk. If y'all want to stand around where you can watch this. This is my drawer. You've just made a purchase for $6.60, which is what this book of stamps is. You've handed me a $10 bill. Now, the first thing you do is you keep this $10 bill on the counter where the customer can see it and where you can see it, but out of reach of the customer. Anybody know why the reason for this is?
So they don't later say, I gave you a 20.
Exactly. So you don't get flim-flam. If you put it in a drawer, out of sight, out of mind, you don't know what to give you. They say, I gave you a 20. You don't remember what it was. Leave it in sight. The RT is going to show you how much change to get back. We don't look at that because you can count back incorrectly. The three count method. First, 640 out of 10. I set the 10 aside. First, I count silently to myself. 640, 50, 660, pardon me. I'll have a flashback on the old rates. 660, 75, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've counted this silently to myself. To the customer, I hand it to him in his hand. For these purposes, I'll lay it on the counter. 670, 660, 70, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 2 times. Once to myself, once to the customer to himself. If he wants to stand there and count it again, that's fine. But we call that the three count method. Then and only then do you place that $10 bill in your drawer. So, if you would step back to your seats. Carlos, by you being a fellow window clerk and familiar with this, has anyone else in the classroom had any experience in the retail world as far as counting money?
I work in a bank once.
That works real good. Y'all counted money back too like that too, didn't you?
I didn't work in that end.
You didn't work in that end. You didn't handle money. Jane, how about yourself?
Not really.
Carlos, can you slide around with the group?
Sure.
Again, we're going to keep it simple. We're just going to be using ones and pretend these are nickels, dimes, and quarters. But let me say one thing. I mentioned before the penny. Suppose it was $6.61 and I hand you a penny. How are you going to deduct that without using a calculator? It's very easy. $6.61, I hand you a $10 bill and a penny. All you do is knock that 1 cent off of the $6.60, and in your mind it's $6.60, you count back from that. And that's what you tell the customer. If it's $6.53, he hands you 3 cents, it's $6.50 then. This is that stuff. Less chance of making a mistake, and you know we're financially responsible for everything we do on the way. If we lose it, we buy it. We just don't get to enjoy it. We drop a coil of stamps, it's ours, but we can't use them. You drop a $10 bill in the trash can, it's gone. So, Carlos, with your help and mine, I want each of you to play customer and clerk. Jane, would you do the honors of buying a book of stamps in fact? Miss Sally, all $6.60.
This is mine.
That's your money. And just use it.
What are these again? Dimes?
You can pretend these are nickels, dimes, and quarters, whichever way you want to do. We were very limited in the training room on what kind of money we have down there.
Hey, I want a book of stamps. I want self-adhesive.
Okay. Put that to the side, not in the register yet.
Right where she keep it.
All right, now I'm going to count this as 65, 70, well, I'm sorry, 65, 70, 75, 80,